Hello, everybody. My name is Velez, and this is my project on macOS. This is I wouldn't say it's a common system that's used. It's not as common as Windows, for example, but it's just as common. You may find it in a lot of uh, studios, for example, where recording happens. Many people that create content, such as videos, YouTube videos, movies, are also created using the software. And here we go. To begin with, we have the processes that take place on Apple's Mac OS. And in this case, Apple takes a layered approach to their processing. And on the top, we have the application environment, which is where you will find things such as your calendar, your iMessage, Safari, those things. And this is where you as a user would interact with it. Application services is where when you interact with the applications, the processes are sent into the main core of the computer. The core services is where many of the basic processes will happen, and the kernel is the main controller of the operating system. macOS makes use of five process states. The first one is SIDL, which is idle, and this is when the process is partially created and it's being ready to run. SRun is when the process is runnable. When it's in sleep, this is when the process is waiting for a trigger for the process to start to occur and for it to be processed. Stop is when the process is stopped. And zomb, which is short for zombie, is when the process is partially terminated or terminated completely. A very cool thing about tracking the processes with macOS is you can look at it in the activity monitor. You can easily find this by running a search in the main menu where all the applications are. And here you will see the icon, activity monitor. It has a sort of a EKG measuring graphic for it. Now, when you open this up, you will see that it's divided into five sections. You have the CPU, the memory. You can also view it from an energy perspective that's being used. You can see the disk that's being used and also the network. Uh, in the CPU section specifically, which is the second graphic that we have here, it's organized between process name, the percentage of the CPU that's used, the time, how many threads are being used, idle wake ups, the percentage of the GPU that's used, GPU time, PID, and the user under which the processes are occurring. Now, in my case, as you can see in the bottom, as I was creating this presentation, my system usage at the time was 7.04%. As a user, I'm the sole user of my MacBook, and it was 9.34%. I had 83.62% of my CPU idle. At the time, the applications between Google Chrome, PowerPoint, and I believe that was it. I was using 2,108 threads and I only had 460 processes running at the time. Next, we have the scheduling policies and practices of the Mac. So, Mac OS takes advantage of using an advanced version of the CMU Mach 3 scheduler. The threads are specifically prioritized as normal, system high priority, kernel mode only, and real time threads. The real time threads are given high priority, but this can change depending on any other threads that may arise. As we know, systems can reprioritize the threads depending on the needs at the moment, and in this case, any of the threads can be reprioritized in the macOS. macOS takes advantage of the virtual memory system, and this is used because what macOS does is reduce the amount of RAM that's used. Any memory that's not in use is stored in the hard disk. Writable data cannot be removed from the memory. The system simply reduces the amount of free memory and it's accounted for with the writable data. Applications cannot free up memory or automatically removed from the memory. If there are no pages available, the repository is put into use to make additional space. Kernel information and data structures are stored in the wired memory. Applications and other software cannot use any of the allocated memory or the wired memory. Now, in the event that the system runs out of pages, it will search up the inactive pages, free them, and it will use them. macOS uses flash storage for its file management system. The disk space is partitioned in what is called a container, and this is done on demand. Files on the Mac can be encrypted for security purposes or for any other purposes, of course. Uh, One of my favorite things about the memory management system, or the file management system, better said, is that it has the use of case sensitivity. So you can have, for example, two files named case, but if the case of the letters are different, it will create them as separate files. In the event that two files have the same name, it will prompt you, and if you still want to move forward with using the same names, it'll simply distinguish them by using a number in parentheses. So if you have two files with the capital names case, it will be case, and then the second one will be case with the one in parentheses. macOS is very well known for its graphics, its powerful graphics, and this can be seen in its use in, for example, in the making of movies, YouTube content, and other types of content that is used, even for pictures. In this case, Mac uses 7 different types of GPUs or graphic processor units. This would be Intel's UHD graphics, Iris Plus, Iris Pro graphics, Iris Graphics, HD Graphics, and NVIDIA GeForce. Most MacBooks are equipped with 2 graphic processors. One of them would be a discrete GPU, and the other one would be an integrated GPU. The discrete GPU is usually more powerful, and this would use more of the battery or of the power source, and this gives higher quality graphics than the integrated GPU. The GPU is simply used to save battery, but at the same time, it does not give as much quality as the discrete GPU. Whenever you are using a Mac and you are curious about what type of GPU is currently in use, you can simply go to the About This Mac section from the small Apple icon in the top left corner of the screen, and this is in most Windows. And you would simply click on the Apple. You would go to About This Mac, and then it will open a small window where it will give you a lot more information. But in the very first tab that's there, you will see the graphics. And on my MacBook, I have an Intel Iris Plus graphics GPU. To enhance the graphics experience, macOS does support the usage of external GPUs, but one of the requirements is to have the software High Sierra 10.13.4 installed. The enhanced GPU is what increases the graphics performance, and this is done by providing additional processing power. This is ideal for people who are, for example, using games. A lot of people like to play games on Mac because of the GPUs and the powerful graphics that it can produce. It's also great for people that are interested in using a virtual reality headset. In regards to networking, the operating system allows you to enter the Finder application, and from there you can access other hosts that are on the network. And in this case, macOS does allow you to connect to other operating systems. So this can be Windows computers, it can be airports, which is produced by Mac, Time Capsules, which is also produced by Mac. It has FTP server capabilities and much more. This is all found in the locations drop down of your Mac in the Finder application. Connecting to other devices on the Mac is very simple. As stated in the previous slide, all you will have to do is go to the Finder application. From there, you will go to the Locations dropdown on the left-hand side of the screen. And once you expand the Locations dropdown, you'll be able to see other devices that are on the network. In my case, there aren't any other devices on the network currently, but the only other location that is provided to me was OneDrive, and this is cloud storage provided by Monroe College. And when you click on that, you will simply see more folders, which will have your storage options. A great networking feature of Mac is that it lets you conduct network testing, and this is done using the terminal application. The command to initiate the network test is network quality with a capital Q, and the information that's populated by this command is upload capacity, upload flows, download flows, and the responsiveness of the network. The upload capacity and the download capacity, however, can be run separately, but they are run together by default with the network quality command. Finally, an example that I produced here from my network testing was in the terminal application. And here you can see the results that I cropped out. I entered here in the top, you can see on the right hand side, I have network quality with a capital Q, and it shows my current download capacity, which at the time was 86.135 megabits per second. As we go down further, it's actually listed in a more neat summary. My upload capacity at the time of producing the network test was 71.489 megabits per second. My download capacity was 86.135 megabits per second, which didn't change from the first run around. The upload flows was 20, the download flows was 12, and the responsiveness of my network was medium at 520 RPM.